In this video, we're going to talk about the relationship between dependent and independent variables. A variable is a symbol or letter that represents a value that can change. It's like a placeholder inside an equation where we can plug in different values. There are two types of variables. Independent variable, that's known as the input. That is the quantity inside the equation that we change. The other variable is the dependent variable, also known as the output. That's the answer that we get. It's the quantity that changes because of the input that we put in. Think of it this way. The output depends on what we plug in for the input. Many times in math, we have data sets that contain two or more quantities written in an equation form. An example would be y equals 3x plus 4. The x is the input. We're going to plug numbers in for the x. And then our y is the output. That's our answer. If we plug a different number in for x, our output will change. Let's go through some examples together and figure out what our equation would be, what the independent variable is, and what the dependent variable is. This problem says you make $12 per hour. Our equation would be y equals 12 times x, because it's $12 for every hour. Our independent variable is going to be x. That's the amount of hours we work. Our dependent variable is what's going to change based off the hours worked. That's the money made and the variable y. So your income, which is the output, depends on how many hours you work, or your input. Your income changes as you work different amounts of hours. For example, how much would you make if you worked 4 hours? If you worked 4 hours, we could put 4 as our input. Then 4 times 12 equals 48. 48 would be our output because that is how much money we made. This next example says that you can drive 60 miles per hour, which means you drive 60 miles every hour. You have already driven 200 miles. Let's write our equation. In this case, I'm going to use the variables m for miles and h for hours. So we have the amount of miles driven is going to be 60 miles for every hour, or 60h, but we've already gone 200, so we can add that 200 to our total. In this case, our independent variable is what's going to change. That's our h, or our hours driven. Our dependent variable is what's going to change based off of our input. The dependent variable is going to be the total miles and the variable m. The amount of total miles driven changes based on how long you've been driving. For example, if we drive for 2 hours, how far have we gone? Well, if we drive for 2 hours, we can plug that in for h. That's our input. We would have 60 times 2, which is 120, plus the 200 miles we've already gone. When we add 120 and 200, we get 320 miles. That's our output. Go ahead and pause the video and try this last one on your own. When you're ready, hit play and we'll see how you did. This last one says that you can make 4 paintings every day, and you already have 3 paintings done. You can use whatever variables you want in this problem because it doesn't specify. I'm going to use a D for day and a P for paintings. So the amount of paintings we have is going to be 4 paintings for every day. And then we already have the 3 paintings done that we can add. The independent variable, or the input, is going to be days. And our dependent variable, or what's going to change based off the amount of days, is going to be the total paintings. What this is saying is that the amount of paintings you have changes based on how many days you make them.